Here we go, fam.
Yeah.
Unrehearsed. Back at it again with Mo and
Deshaun. It's
Deshaun.
popping.
Wonton.
I almost forgot my name. Almost
Okay.
said Xavier.
Lying
But yeah.
to the people.
Yeah, bro. We back unrehearsed.
Unrehearsed.
You know, it
Per
ain't an unrehearsed episode of we don't know how to open this up.
Really? Literally.
This ain't an unrehearsed episode.
Like, we might not ever get it together, fam, and that's okay.
Probably
that's
not.
fine.
It makes it really fun, actually.
It does.
'Cause
I
it's
agree.
Like, I don't know.
It's like no pressure.
Right.
It's like we just winging it.
And
We
I
just
never
out here.
know what to expect the moment that we press record.
Right.
And it's like, okay, how are we going to like actually segue into the conversation?
Right.
Without it being awkward.
No, for
It
real.
starts off awkward.
I was like, today we're talking about platonic, hypnotic,
Oh, yeah.
erotic. Just kidding. Not hypnotic. I'm just kidding. We're just rhyming. So today we're talking about platonic, however you want to say it. Friendships. Can it be done? Is it possible?
This is specifically between like guys and girls.
Yes.
Pardon me as I'm just making sure everything looks good.
Mm-hmm.
But
Like, as you can see or hear my voice, y'all, trash right now, but that's okay. So we're just gonna keep on checking. So if you see my head turn, it's because I'm trying not to like die while coughing. Right.
platonic relationships between guys and girls, in particularly, you know, the whole guy and girl best friends.
Is that a real thing? Can you actually be best friends with a girl and a guy? How about you just start off sharing your experience? Like, let's hear it, Xavier. Like, have you had a platonic relationship? Do you have one now, and how is that going? I'm sorry, I heck put you on the spot.
No, this is perfect. One of the reasons I actually wanted to do this episode. First, shout out to Mo, because this was actually Mo's thought.
Oh.
And, you know, always got to shout out my people. Shout out Brandon behind the camera.
Brandon.
As always, he just manages to get shouted out every episode.
Literally.
And my man is just looking like Mary Poppins right now, holding that umbrella,
No,
covering
for real.
himself from the sun. But, so to answer your question, so one of the reasons why I wanted to do this, aside from it just being a nice conversation, is the fact that I have so much experience in this.
Okay.
My best friend of it would be, I don't know exactly when this episode is going to drop, but it's going to hit 10 years this year.
Oh wow, that's a whole decade.
It's a
Decade.
girl. It's a woman.
A woman. Okay.
Yeah, we went to we met our freshman year.
Okay.
And I was
Of
still,
high school,
Yeah,
just to
freshman year of
clarify,
high
okay.
school. And I was still new to the city. I had just moved and I had wrapped up my 8th grade year in Antioch. So I only had been out for like 4 months.
Okay.
4 or 5 months, if that. And funny thing is, her and I never had class together.
Oh wow. So
Yeah.
how did y'all actually become friends?
We became friends through a mutual friend.
Okay.
Who I was good friends with all 4 years of high school as well. And we ended up, I was in BSU freshman year. And part
What's
of
BSU? Sorry.
Black Student Union.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, I was in Black Student Union my entire freshman year. I was active in high school, so I was in Black Student Union my entire freshman year, and then part of my sophomore year, and then I did sports, football, and track for a year. And then senior year, I was in jazz band. Just, you know, just got to stay active out here. And so we met through a mutual friend, and then we got real close because we both decided to do BSU together. And yeah, we just never had a class.
Wow.
And it's like we had lunch, then we had the same lunch, or we had BSU, and then we just, you know, connected really well. And then I met her, like her parents and like part of her family.
Okay, but y'all was still like friends, and there was like no feelings for each other, like in a romantic sense at all?
Nah.
Okay.
We was chilling.
Okay.
And like we've been in our own, in multiple of our own like separate, you know, individual relationships with other people while still maintaining our best friendship, and not like, you know, that line was never crossed.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
That's interesting.
Yeah, and it makes for some people don't necessarily feel That way they feel a little bit more insecure about things.
Okay.
And I understand it.
Like insecure
in the sense of like, okay, let's say I'm dating someone.
Okay.
And you and I are best friends.
Oh, I was gonna ask. I'm glad you brought that up because that was literally a question in my mind of like, oh, so then whoever you're dating, like, were they at all? I like that you call it an insecurity. Whoo, you're stepping on people's
bad.
toes.
I didn't mean
stepping on them. Y'all go ahead, take off your shoes, get prepared.
I gotta like.
It's okay. I mean, like, I would agree. I definitely do feel like it is an insecurity thing. Like, I'm glad you said that. I just think a lot of people wouldn't blatantly say it like that, nor are they able to like recognize
this
that.
This podcast gonna get me canceled one day.
It's okay. It's okay.
I don't ever be thinking about it's gonna go public.
Yeah, it's okay. We're just talking.
Yeah, so it's like some people might feel a certain way, and obviously we did run into that.
Okay, you did. And so how did that affect your relationship, being that y'all were still so close, being of the opposite sex, but it was never like, oh, I'm trying to get at you or I'm like falling in love with you?
I think it's a couple of things. One, you gotta be mature enough to not like, you just gotta be mature enough to handle it.
Okay.
For one, it's, guys and girls become friends all the time, so it's not like anything new. I think maybe social media or something may have a play in just kind of like bringing it more to the forefront.
Yeah.
But
sorry, that was like really like that.
But it's like one, just I guess just being like mature enough, and it's a lot of times some of it just comes down to have an honest conversation.
Okay. Like an honest conversation. Like, what would that look like? Because I think that's the other thing. I do feel that with platonic relationships, there's that pressure, let's be real, to kind of like end up together. Because, you have like family, and everyone's like always dropping that person's name or like, oh, what about so-and-so? So they almost like get it in your mind. And then you kind of like, I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I'll be like, dang, I'm really considering that. And I'm just like, but stop.
It's been almost 10 years. They still bring her name up.
Right.
I'm like, yo, I almost married a whole other girl.
Dang, yo, like, no, for real.
Like, her name was brought up like probably a couple days ago.
Oh, really?
I'm dead serious. If it looks like I'm going to go like somewhere, some sort of special occasion. Who's the girl? Is it so? And it's like, yo, it's been almost 10 years. Like, we chilling. But honest conversation, honestly, it just looks like a honest and transparent conversation. And it's like, sometimes you might have to just like.
So what does that look? Can you just say it though? I feel like you're trying to. So for example,
like don't be scared to like.
Is it more like, hey, like for example, it's us.
Yeah,
let's just play around.
It's like, for example, we heard it a lot in high school. Some folks actually thought we were dating, for a while, and we especially like freshman year, we really heard it a lot because we had like met each other freshman year, and after a while, after you hearing it so often, I'm hearing it on my own, we're hearing it together, she's hearing it on her own. Eventually you're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just kind of like, just talk about it. Like, where's y'all heads at as far as as far as each other goes.
Okay, so it's like, do you like me like that?
Have you ever had those thoughts kind of thing?
And if you both have had those thoughts, does it necessarily mean that y'all need to pursue it, or is it just more of like, okay, like we know that we both having those thoughts, but like
you could explore and see what the curiosity is all about, fulfill your curiosity needs, but that's just up to y'all. You know what I'm saying, obviously. But I would say like obviously setting those boundaries with each other and having an honest conversation and stuff like that, and then when you with your significant other, it's like. Also let them know, like, hey, it's only guys for you. You know what I'm saying? It's just the friends, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing more, ain't nothing less.
Yeah.
Type joint. She chasing someone else. You know what I mean? So ain't nothing that kind of. It's just you just got to be, I guess, adults about it.
Okay.
Because guys and girls become friends all the time.
Right.
It's just natural. And there is some sort of natural attraction at work because you're more likely to become friends with someone that you're attracted to in some sort of way.
That's interesting.
In some sort of way. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a physical attraction.
Yeah, sometimes it's just like certain characteristics where you're like, oh, I like that. And
yeah,
like, okay.
Sometimes it's certain personality traits and characteristics.
Yeah.
Sometimes it starts off with, man, so-and-so. They look kind of,
I was like, what?
You know, so-and-so. Look, you know what I'm saying? And then you talk to them and you get to know them a little bit, and it's like, okay, it's not going in the romantic kind of way, but you still really value their company.
Yeah.
And so it's like, and you ask yourself, well, it's not going the romantic kind of way, but do I still like appreciate this, what this person brings to my life? You know what I mean? You got to be adults about it. That's just how I've approached it. It's not the way, but a way.
So then for example, being in like a relationship, but this isn't with a platonic friend, and so to have whoever like your partner is to kind of be like, oh, like I don't believe that like you could be best friends with like a guy, for example, myself, it's like, oh, I don't believe that you could be best friends with a guy like because you're secretly in love with him and stuff. Like, what do you say to that? Because it's like like I don't know what to do.
I'd be like, man, if I was in love with just me personally, knowing myself and how I typically conduct myself, if I was in love with the girl, I'm gonna go see about that.
Okay.
I'm not gonna be I'm not gonna like,
you're not gonna play around.
I'm not gonna date this one girl but secretly be in love with another.
Wow, that's actually pretty foul if you think about it.
Yeah, it's like I'm not about to do that. I pride myself on like knowing what's going on the inside, because I do a lot of journaling, and so if you don't if you don't like in some sort of way like figure out what's going on, the thoughts that you're thinking or the feelings that you're feeling, whether it's through journaling or whatever, however you do it, a lot of stuff has a way of flying under the radar.
Okay.
And so yeah, I'm not like, I remember one time they tried to trap your boy up, you know what I'm saying? Someone was like,
no, because literally females be out here trapping.
Yeah,
okay, it's scary.
They tried to trap your boy up, didn't realize I was in on gang, you know what I'm saying? But so someone was this old girl I was dating years ago. She was a little concerned about it.
Okay.
But by that time, me and my best friend had been best friends for like 4 years.
Okay, gotcha.
4 years and ain't nothing had happened. 4 years and she's been her own separate relationships. I was in my own separate relationships. Nothing had happened.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy, nothing sneak on the side, nothing, no sneaky link, no nothing. It was just best friends. How your mom and them doing?
Yeah.
Like when I met mom, dad, sisters, like, I done met the fam and everything. So I'm part of the fam. And so years ago, this girl I was dating she asked the question. She's like, how would you feel if I had a guy best friend? And I was like, as long as bruh's cool.
Okay.
And
you're like rare. I feel like a lot of guys don't feel that way at all.
But then, is that an insecurity?
This is getting good. Okay.
I didn't mean at first to use the word insecurity.
No, but that was good.
But it kind of, it's like if you with someone and you get nervous when they're around someone else, then it's like, okay, like you probably don't entirely trust them. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Or maybe, you feel some sort of way if you feel like if you get nervous when your significant other is around them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, now perhaps to like what you said, I am a rare dude because it's like I'm not that kind of dude that's gonna pull something.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm not that kind of dude that's gonna like, once those boundaries and that understanding was set between me and my best friend,
I kept those boundaries.
10 years later.
Wow, come on.
And we had that honest conversation. And we talked about it just to pick each other's brains and see where it's at. And we got real honest and transparent with each other. And then 10 years later, here we are. You know what I mean? Still best friend and stuff like that. We still keep up with each other. We don't necessarily talk every single day. But like, we hit each other up. We go see about each other, make sure it's cool. And when we link up, how's the fam doing? How's mama? I call her mama. And I've been doing that since freshman year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember like one time I was trying to link up with my best friend and something happened and she wasn't able to link. So I just pulled over to her house because she's still at home with the folks. So I pulled over to her house and I just sat down with her mom and her older sister and I just talked. And we just chopped it up.
Oh, I love that.
You
That's
know what I
beautiful.
mean? So maybe I am a bit rare. I don't know. I will never say that I'm rare.
Oh, it's okay. I'll say it for you. You're rare.
You and others have said that.
Yeah.
I will never say that about myself.
I think it's just because your sense of maturity with it is just because you're only, I don't know, are we like dropping ages? Is that okay?
The world knows.
Okay,
Well,
great.
They can
Hopefully.
find it out.
Well,
I'm
homeboy
23.
over here is 23. I'm 26. And so I know I look
Jordan
good.
year.
Don't worry, y'all. Everyone's always like, you look like you're 18. And I was like, black don't crack. Let's go.
Yes,
So,
Jordan year
but-
for your boy.
yeah, but Deshaun is 23. And so even as a 23-year-old, like, it's so rare to like find young men who are as mature as you, like in your level of thinking, like, and in your mindset. No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
And in your mindset. So for you to even like be able to say like, oh, I've had a 10-year long platonic relationship with my best friend who's a girl, and like nothing has happened, and we've had conversations and things like that. So what would you say to the person that's scared to have that conversation? Because I do feel like there are people, like there is the side of like, oh, we set boundaries and we're just friends, but then there also is the other side of like, we really do be liking each other, but like we really not doing nothing about it. And it's just like we've had conversations, but like nothing has gone anywhere.
So
And so it's just like
So in this question, they've already had the honest conversation and just haven't made that step to make something happen.
correct. So then do you stay friends with them or do you not stay friends with them?
So
not that I'm
they
speaking from
both
experience.
admitted that they like each other.
Yeah.
Go for it. Like, oh well, if y'all.
But what if one party is just kind of like playing around
Well,
and the other party is like, hey,
that's
I'm trying to
a-
get serious right now?
That's a whole separate thing. Like you
Okay.
gotta guard your heart, as the Bible says out here.
Uh-huh.
I think, what does it say? Like, for out of it comes like the issues of life or something.
Yeah.
Paraphrasing.
Yeah.
If someone's playing, then that's a different conversation, because you just gotta make sure that you don't get played in the process.
Okay.
And
But
yeah.
then do you stay friends with that person? You know what I mean? Because it's like the relationship is already. What? Because the relationship has already been there for a long time.
A light just went off.
Right, thank you. And so,
Yeah.
so it's like the relationship has been there for a long time, but there has never just been that initiation on one side of the party.
Have they been playing that throughout the length of the bond?
I would say so,
Is this
yes.
like a reoccurring pattern?
Yes.
Then you might have to take them for what they are and not what they could be.
Ooh, talk about that. Can you say that one more time for the people and for myself?
You might you might have to take them for what they are and not what they could be, meaning like don't, and I've done this before. I'm guilty. But like, don't, in that case, don't like go for what they could be, like for potential.
Okay,
Look
got
at what
you.
they are in the moment.
Uh-huh.
That's what I personally would do. It's not a way, or it's not the,
The
way, it's a way.
Yeah.
That might be a line I'll say repeatedly throughout this podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, because it's like, people have, and I understand it, because me, with the business and with my own life, it requires me to have long-term vision. I have to
long-term
be
vision.
able to see, like, there's stuff I do now because I know how it's going to benefit years ahead. Like, for example, I didn't really give myself a break in school because I know that if I kept going and going, I could get done really fast.
Yeah.
And I finished a whole year early.
Come on.
And so, like, if I didn't do that, I'd still be in school right now.
Right.
We probably wouldn't be shooting this podcast. So doing that opens up the door for a lot of things. And I knew that at the start. So, darn, what was I going to say?
You was talking about showing people.
Oh, yeah, like long-term vision. So, yeah,
long-term vision.
just I typically have long-term vision over just about everything. But when it comes to people, and especially when it comes to people, is because, like, I remember I told, can't remember who I told this, but I told someone, I was like, fairly recently I actually said this, I told someone, it's like, sometimes I'll see a person's potential before I ever really know entirely of what they are right now.
I actually think you told me that.
Did I tell you that?
I think it was
I
me.
probably told you that.
When you said it, I was like, oh, you told me that. Yeah.
Okay, maybe it was you. But when it comes to, like, feelings and just people in general, it's like, yeah, people, we have potential, but you always got to look at, okay, what are they right now?
Wow.
You know, so and I guess in this case, if the person has been repeatedly playing throughout the years, probably don't want to bank on them changing anytime. So I'm not saying that they can't get their act together, because everyone can grow and change. I've grown and changed a lot. But, you know, if you were to get involved and then you get played, you knew what you were signing up for.
Right, yes.
You know what I mean? You had a large enough sample size and long enough time to figure out what it is that you could do.
Yeah.
Me personally, that's how I would roll. Because, you know, and I like I said, I'm guilty. I've done that before, where it's like, I see the person, but I'm also seeing what I know that they could end up being.
Yeah.
And, you know, when people don't meet that expectation, because they just don't do what they want to do, then you're left hurt and disappointed and stuff.
Man, like that. Yeah. You want a quote? Say the quote. I know you wanted to say it.
What's the quote?
What you told me yesterday, where you were like, high expectations.
Oh.
Say it. The
what
people
did I
need
say?
to hear that. That was fire.
I say.
You said.
Oh my! I don't remember it.
You said high expectations sets you up for great disappointments. That's what you told me.
Something like that. I don't know if I said it exactly like that, but something like great disappointment is usually due to high expectations not being met. And yeah, that's just life. So, yeah. Then it comes to that. When it comes to that kind of scenario, if someone's playing, then it's like, get defensive. You know, guard yourself, because you don't want to get caught up in the mix. It's like, you know. So you ever see like a cartoon? You're like the old cartoons where they fighting, and it's like they fighting, but it's like smoke and dust, and you can't actually see them fight.
Yeah.
And then they going and they going, and then next you know someone gets trapped in there, and next you know they in it too.
Yeah. Oh, that's hecka funny. That was
like
beautiful. We needed that imagery. I was like,
yes. Yeah. At least that's how I picture it. So.
Okay.
But yeah, I say guy and girl best friends are completely possible. It just all depends on the character of the both of you. The both of you, not just one person, but the both of you.
Yeah.
And, you know, if at some point, if it calls for it, having that conversation, because there's a natural guy and girl dynamic at work where it's like, you know, everybody wants love. So if you
all you need is love.
So like if you're a guy and then you connect with a girl and she's really cool and you guys are really like gelling and bonding and stuff like
gelling
together.
I was like, okay.
Those thoughts might be in the back of your mind, like, with this, I wonder if this could go here. Because you're like, okay, she's straight, okay, she like this, I'm like that too, we get along, we laugh, and da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And so those thoughts might naturally come to your mind. So, but, yeah.
Dang. So then,
it's not the way,
it's a way. We're going to make a shirt. It's not the way, it's a way. Hashtag transparency.
Yes.
I like
hashtag transparency.
New merch is gonna be dropping in October. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I'm just kidding. Dang. Okay. I would say that because when you were talking, all I kept thinking of was just like, I wouldn't say so much social. I wouldn't say, y'all, that was bad. I wouldn't say like so much social media, but it more makes me think of just like film, because I don't think that insecurity is of like feeling like you can't have a platonic relationship when you're in a relationship, or even when you're not, like just having a platonic relationship. I feel that a lot of that has to do with just movies, if I'm being honest. Like I'm just thinking about films and just how many times in the films, you know, they'd be like, oh yeah, like, you know, let's say I'm married to Gus, you know, and my best friend Gina is like, oh yeah, like Gina and Gus, like they're so close, you know, and then in the movie it's like they end up having like an affair or something, and you're like, oh, what? And then, you know, all the women are like, girl, I could have told you that, you know, because they're like so close and stuff. So I do feel that like media and just in general, just hearing stories from like family members and things like that can like almost like plant that seed of like insecurity or that seed of doubt. Like there's no way that you could still be best friends with this person and like not do anything. It's like people are waiting for the shoe to drop. They're like, there's no way. Like you say this, but like there's no human being on earth. Literally. Like it's like there's no human being on earth that has ever had a platonic relationship and it's never like been anything else, you know? And so, yeah.
Yeah, I think movies play a part in it, especially American movies, because like I think I probably said this on one of our previous episodes, the romance part of romances was romanticized. The romance part of love actually was romanticized. But and things are done in film just for it to make like a good product.
Yeah.
But I think then the problem with that is we see that and we soak up that product and that content, and then we go out and kind of like start to expect that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's like so true. Also, it makes me think, were you going to say something?
Not really.
Oh. Like,
I mean, yes.
Yeah,
But no.
I was like, what? Okay.
Yes, but no.
But I was just gonna add, because then it made me think of like, what does love really mean? Because I think a lot of times, I said girl, I meant Deshawn. I was like, what's your name? Who are you? I felt like my grandma was just like, every name but your own. Okay, but it just made me think of like, what does love really mean? What does it really mean to like not so much be in love, but to love somebody, especially somebody of like the opposite sex? Because in America in general, like in this Western world that we live in, like sex sells, you know, and it's so like such a hypersexual culture. And so like a lot of times we associate love with sex. So then it's like, I think that also can make it very hard for us to have healthy and real and genuine, authentic, like non-sexual, non-romantic relationships with the opposite sex.
Yeah, are we talking love in terms of like a romantic relationship?
No, just in general. Because I mean, like, it's hard to, like, I feel like a lot of times in society, like, it's hard to be like, oh yeah, like, I love this dude, and you're not family, right? Like, you're not family, you're just friends. And then you know, it's like, it's hard to, I guess, like, for a lot of people to like stay in that relationship and like not for their mind to like go to like, oh, romantic, just because it's like so
it's all out there.
Yeah. And I feel like kind of like you said, society setting up that expectation of like, oh, like if you're in a relationship with the opposite sex, you know, it's like, just like it has to be something.
You
like,
know, a guy you think he cool, y'all something
right? Like I feel like Beauty and the Beast, where it's like there may be something there that wasn't there before. Like it's like literally that's how I feel like society makes you feel about platonic relationships.
Yeah, I mean, there's different types of love. There's the romantic love, and then there's like the family love, and then like a brotherly, friendly love type of thing.
But I mean, even with the romantic love, I feel like if you, for example, take away like the sex in a romantic relationship, like what makes it romantic then? What makes it romantic, like without the sex?
Without the sex, well, that is a good question for some married folk.
Oh, okay. You right.
Yeah, I'm single.
Okay.
But,
I love you. He dropped that in there, ladies, just to say.
Oh gosh, I didn't mean.
I was just kidding.
But that's obviously not saying that sex is all that makes it romantic. I think it's good to like know like your love languages. I mean, quality time is good. If that's like your love language, quality time, whatever that
acts of service, words of affirmation.
Yeah.
What's the other one? Physical touch.
Gifts and stuff like
that.
All of that stuff contributes to the romance. It's just the thing with relationships these days, because we don't do it God's way, and a lot of us come from broken homes.
Yeah.
A lot of relationships these days, the thing that's like keeping it somewhat going is sex. Whatever that chemistry is as far as that goes.
Yeah.
And the moment that is removed, or the moment that moment is over, it's like y'all ain't got nothing in common. Y'all
wow.
Really
come on.
Talk
Can I just make a side note?
Yeah.
So there's this girl, her name's Johnny Rain. She's hilarious, but she had like this video, and she's like, hey, this is your Christian cousin, Najani. You see that?
Yeah.
Yo, but it was the part where she was like, let's start off with the verse that's like, sex is for poor people. I was like, yo, she coming in strong. Yeah. But it had me so weak. Anyways, I just thought about that. I just like had to share.
I don't think I saw all of it, but I know
that first one had me so weak. I was like, nah, but she right. She's like, only poor people have sex. And I was like, oh, okay.
Rich folk ain't doing that now.
Right.
I can attest to that.
That's hecka funny.
But yeah, I just think that, like you said, things are hyper sexualized these days, and so they mesh the concept of love and the acts of sex together into like one. Yeah. You know, and you know, a lot of times people. Oh man, that's a whole nother conversation. But a lot of times, I guess, man. Okay, so I've experienced things in just the dating pool where it's like
you be swimming deep.
Whereas I've experienced moments where the girl feels weird because I wasn't quick. Like, I wasn't trying to do that. I was trying to say that stuff for marriage. Talk about sex.
Oh, okay. I was like lost. I'm like, what? Okay.
Like
they feel weird.
They feel like, yeah. I remember I dated one girl and she literally, her insecurities really showed because I wasn't like, because I told her not to send like, no, was it that? No, because I wasn't like touching up on her like sexually, like trying to initiate something. And I'm like, I'm trying to say that for marriage because you know stuff could happen and it's God's way to save it for marriage. And then like she literally was like, almost like, she almost in a way was like, dang, do we really even like me like that?
Isn't that crazy? Like, yo, that's like a real thing though. Know, like you're saying it and I'm like, no, like facts.
Yeah, and it's like I was starting to encounter, this was years ago, so I think I was probably still in high school, and I was like starting to encounter all of that stuff. I was like, what? Like, yeah. Now mind you, I come like my parents have been married, and I come from a Christian household. My parents have been married over 30 years, so it's like I didn't come up that way. You know what I mean? We wasn't taught that, and so when I heard that, I'm over here thinking like, man, I'm really trying to get to know you. I want to do things right and do it God's way. So I'm gonna save it for marriage. And she's like, you want to save it for marriage? You must not like
now.
You must not like really like me like that. You must
Isn't
not really
crazy?
Be attracted to me.
Yeah.
Like I was like, wow, that's like very two opposing ideas right there.
Right.
But yeah, it's wild out here.
It's wild out here. Y'all gotta be chill up in those dating pools.
Yeah.
I was like, that tide really be trying to bring you in. Like,
I think as far as like to answer it, because I think you asked a question about like, well, then what is love then? Like just in a general sense, not necessarily romantic.
Right.
It's kind of starting to get a bit chilly out here.
It's a little cold. It's a little windy.
I think it's just, I mean, you know, like I guess the term is what, like common love, or just you know, treating others how you'd want to be treated. That's
like 1 Corinthians 13 maybe.
Yeah, that's like love at its most basic form. It's like I wouldn't run up on you and bop you upside the head aggressively. Please don't do that to me.
Right.
You know, if you got love and respect for your boy, even if you don't really know me like that, please don't do that to me. And then as far as like, I guess as far as the friendship goes, platonic friendships, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Just, you know, it's not much different. Like, just look out for one another.
Okay.
I would think.
And is it just having healthy conversations? I guess that's what we can like end with. So having a healthy platonic relationship in today's society, just considering all the things that we've already discussed, it will look like, one, like y'all having those open conversations of like, where's your head at in our relationship and where's my head at?
Yeah, just to get that part squared away.
Okay.
If necessary.
Okay.
Sometimes it ain't necessary. You know what I mean? But if it calls for that, in my experience, it called for it. Get that squared away when, you know, just honest conversation between the two of y'all. And then, like, don't overthink things. Just be friends, dog.
Yo, overthinking. No, for real. Because I used to really be reading between the lines and stuff. Yeah, and then they'd be like, nah. And I'm like, yo, it was all in my head. Yeah. Like, I was just really deep thinking that.
Sometimes it ain't that deep. Like, just go hang. We've went to the movies. We've went to the movies, just us. We've had a group of our friends come with us. We've food and get dinner a bunch of times sometimes. Now, I hate to sound old.
Here we go.
But I'm about to sound older than my age. But now we've reached the age where, at least I've reached a stage personally where it's like, I don't necessarily, like if I'm hanging out with you, it doesn't necessarily have to be activity based. Okay. Like we can just sit in the car and talk, or sit on the couch and talk, or be on the phone. And that fulfills my needs. We catching up, and I'm seeing how you doing, seeing you straight. We catching up on life stories. And just be friends, bro. It's really not that hard. Okay. You know, it's as long as you two are, you know, y'all got that trust and y'all ain't, you know.
And then, so let's say that, for example, you have that, you're keeping up with conversations and just being friends, but then like one party does start feeling feelings, but the other party does not. And so then is it just like you guys just stop being friends, you know, or is it just like, oh, like maybe I'll hang on because they'll probably end up liking me, or is it more like,
man,
yo, like
you want to This is happening
Right, that's
now.
why I brought it up, because I was like, I got you, fam.
Interesting.
Talk about it. I love it. Come on.
Interesting. We gotta keep all that in. Yeah, it's interesting. We talk about this with my man Brandon. Shout out Brandon again behind the camera.
Why you shouting?
Oh, I don't know. I like shouting out my people.
Okay.
Shout out Mo.
Oh,
Right
okay.
next to me.
You're hecka funny.
But
shout out to Deshaun.
Yeah. But darn. Okay, so you was like, okay,
if
what
they
if
don't
one,
feel mutual, if it's like, oh, like, but I
Well,
see you like a
yeah,
brother or a
and-
sister.
and then you were like, okay, so you stop being friends. Well, maybe if this was like sophomore year of high school, I'd be like, ugh. But I'm at it's kind of like I hinted at it earlier. It's like, if like we can talk about it. If it don't go one particular way, okay, cool. But at some point, if it don't go a particular way that one person wanted to go, I feel like you'd have to ask yourself, okay, now this didn't go the way I wanted to go. Do I still really like appreciate and value this person in my life, even if it ain't in that kind of way? I guess it really takes a certain maturity level.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'll never say that I'm rare. I'll never like.
It's okay. You're rare. Every time you say that, I'm like, I'll tell you, you're rare.
I'll never like be like, oh yeah, I'm like super mature. Because honestly, I wouldn't even know as any of that unless I started, until I didn't even know it was all that until I started hearing people say that stuff about me. It's like, oh. And even then, it's not like I was buying into it off rip. But you would have to ask yourself, it's like, okay, do I still really appreciate this person, even though it's not necessarily going that way?
Yeah.
Do I still want this person? Like, do I still value this person just being there and being present?
Yeah. And even adding on to that, though, because I feel like sometimes even if you are mature enough to be like, hey, like, I still want to be friends regardless, like, maybe the other party isn't willing to do that. So sometimes it just be like,
It goes both ways.
all right,
You know, cooperation is twofold. So, but yeah, and then once you answer that question for yourself, whatever the answer is, then you just go from there. If you really wanted that person to be a significant other, and that's what you really wanted that person to be in your life, and they don't want to be that, and you ain't really want to go friendly because you just keep viewing that person as someone that should be in your eyes your significant other, maybe you just gotta like put some distance. You know, but if it ain't that big a deal, for lack of a better way to put it, and you still really value the person in your life, even though it's not going that well, then hey, see about being friends, I guess.
Okay.
It's not the way, it's
a way. Hashtag transparency. We're gonna be dropping the merch. No, I'm just kidding. Every time. Well, thank you, fam, for sitting in on this. Feel free to comment. Please subscribe. Please go to, is it Forever Transparent?
Yeah, links to all of that in the description.
In the description.
Official website is forevertransparent.com. There will be a link to that in the description. Also, links to follow both me and Mo on our socials. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check out the music. Check out the podcast.
Yeah.
If you love the content, share it with someone that you love. If you love these conversations, and we're going to get into it on another episode, but we want to, if you love the conversation that we having, like, share it, because that's one of the things we want to do with this show. It's like provide a safe space to talk about the things that should be talked about more. And I'll get more on that on a different episode.
Okay. Love y'all, fam. Bye.